Hey, what is going on, guys? As you can see on my screen right here, the brand new PlayStation 5 controller has officially been announced. There are some pictures of it that I'm going to show you, and there's some brand new information that we are going to be learning about it from the official PlayStation blog itself. So as you can tell, it is 100% legit. That being said, do make sure if you do enjoy any leaks or just new information like this about brand new consoles and about gaming and stuff like that, and you are, and this is the main part, interested in Call of Duty, mainly zombies, that you go ahead and subscribe to this channel because we are one of the best Call of Duty zombies channels on Twitch and YouTube. We love to have a ton of fun playing zombies, make amazing tutorials, and again, we just have a ton of fun in general. But with that being said, let's jump into the video, and it says, introducing DualSense, the new wireless game controller for PlayStation 5, and here it is. So this isn't DualShock. This is what a DualShock controller looks like right here. And this right here, elite posters, by the way, this on my screen is the DualSense controller, again, for the PlayStation 5, and it looks sick. Like, if you're going to imagine what a controller from the future looks like, this is it. It obviously looks very similar to the DualShock, hence why the names are so similar, and I really don't think they should have gone for a change in controller style. I know some people like the Xbox controller because it's a little bit bigger, if they have bigger hands and stuff like that, but I'm somebody who just likes the sticks next to each other. It's better for me personally, and again, that's good. They're going to maintain that same PlayStation design throughout their brand new controller, and again, that's called the DualSense. The PlayStation button has been redesigned, as you can tell right here. I believe there's going to be more images as well, but this button, the PlayStation button here, we'll show it to you again, has been redesigned. Maybe some of you are on Xbox, you don't remember what it looks like, and also it looks like the controller kind of the form factor kind of slimmed down a little bit, so it looks like it's a little bit more curved instead of outward shaped. But yeah, that's from this image right here. They have an actual PlayStation logo etched into it. I'm not sure if these two buttons are different from each other. You'll also see, I think that's actually a mute button. This may actually just be a PlayStation button, and this may be a mute button. We'll see. Maybe it says something about it. This is the typical share button and kind of like options button that they have. And let's read. So, see the first images of DualSense, which will bring the sense of touch to PS5 gameplay, okay? So, we have this article right here. We've reached an exciting milestone with PlayStation 5 as we're starting to ship our new controller and its final design to developers who are implementing its unique features into their games. I thought they were just shipping it now. I was like, whoa, what's going on? But basically what this first line means is that they have the new controller, their final design is pretty much in, that's where they're showing to us now, and now they're shipping it to developers. This way they can incorporate some of the brand new features into the controller, because if you guys haven't heard the leaks, I think it was leaks, I don't know if they were confirmed stuff, if it was some confirmed stuff, but this controller is going to feature some cool things that the other controllers have not featured in the past, obviously because this is the next generation of consoles, and we have to step up our game on all levels. That being said, let's move on. So they say, but first, we wanted everyone in the PlayStation community to get a first look at the DualSense wireless controller and hear our vision for how the new controller will captivate more of your senses as you interact with the virtual worlds in PlayStation 5 games. The features of DualSense, along with the PS5's Tempest 3D audio tech, I don't know why I said 3D like that, 3D audio tech, will deliver a new feeling of immersion to players. When PS4, okay, so before we get into that, how this can benefit you. So for example, let's take a game like MLB The Show or any sports game that you can think of, or maybe even Call of Duty, right? They can incorporate that, and I'll give you another example in a second. But sports game, I think, is a really good example. What if you're in such an intense moment, right? And it detects that you're like getting a little anxious. It feels your heartbeat raising a little bit, your heart rate raising a little bit. What if, in turn, that makes you more nervous in the game? And some of you may be saying, oh, that's a horrible idea, but just the thought of that being possible, that's awesome, and that's a direction that they're trying to go with these controllers. And Call of Duty, for example, maybe you're on a kill streak and your heart rate just starts increasing again. You're going crazy, like, oh shit, we're one off a nuke, and then all of a sudden maybe your aim gets a little wacky. I don't think that's a good idea, to be honest with you. That sounds insane. But what if something like that existed? What if in custom matches or something crazy like that existed? There's a lot of potential with this controller. That's what I'm trying to show you, and I'm very excited to see what they have planned. So they go on to say, when PS4 launched in 2013, the DualShock 4 wireless controller garnered a lot of positive feedback from gamers and developers of being the best PlayStation controller yet, obviously, and for introducing forward-looking features like the share button. This brought us to the next question. How do we build upon that success? And again, this controller, I think it looks clean. It looks really cool. I'm interested to see what other colors they have, but I'm probably going to pick up this It looks like futuristic. I don't know. It reminds me of Black Ops 3 Zombies Nuketown. That's what it does remind me of. But again, DualShock to DualSense, that's the next generation. They're trying to keep that same kind of form factor for the most part and same kind of design of their older controllers while trying to innovate a little bit more and advance their controllers to the next level. Okay, so we have a few more images here. We'll go into those in a second. Let's read some more information. After thoughtful consideration, we decided to keep much of what gamers love about DualShock 4 intact, and I'll let you look at this up here, while also adding the new functionality and refining the design. Based on our discussions with developers, we concluded that the sense of touch within gameplay, much like audio, hasn't been a big focus of many games. We had a great opportunity with PS5 to innovate by offering game creators the ability to explore how they can heighten that feeling of immersion, through our new controller. This is why we adopted Haptic Feedback. For those of you guys who know Apple stuff, that probably sounds familiar, but I don't think that these are going to be directly related. Which adds, I guess it is. And let me just keep reading. Which adds a variety of powerful sensations you'll feel when you play. Wow. Such as slow grittiness of driving a car through mud. There you go. That's another good example. We also incorporated adaptive triggers into the L2, R2 buttons of DualSense, so you can truly feel the tension of your actions, like when drawing a bow to shoot an arrow. Okay. So there, I'm not sure if they're going to talk about heart rate here, or if that's actually a feature, because that was a rumor at one point in time. Basically, what they're saying here is, if that wasn't clear enough, just take a map like Horizon Drac and Black Ops 3 Zombies. It's not obviously not going to work with DE and BO3, but just say it was remastered, right? When you're pulling back that bow on DE and it's charging up, you'll be able to feel the tension in the controller the further you pull it back. That's why this is... I don't know what I was trying to say. That's why this controller is awesome. I guess that's what I was trying to say. As you can tell, this is the first take. No edits. We're not doing that right now. But, yeah, let's move on. Okay, so here's some more images down here. We'll go more in depth into them on them in a second. I'm actually noticing something very interesting about the controller, but we'll talk about that in a second. This provided us with an exciting challenge to design a new controller that builds off the current generation, while taking into account the new features we were adding, okay? For example, with adaptive triggers, we had to consider how the components would fit into the hardware, without giving it a bulky feeling, which is what I wanted to comment on. Our design team worked closely with our hardware engineers to place the triggers and actuators. Okay, the designers were then able to draw the lines of how the exterior of the controller would look and feel, with the challenge of making the controller feel smaller than it really looks. Okay, so maybe I'm wrong. I'll address what I'm thinking about in a second. In the end, we changed the angle of the hand triggers, which I also commented on before, and also made some subtle updates to the grip. So we'll show you this in a second. We also took thoughtful consideration into ways to maintain a strong battery life, which is awesome, because this battery life in the DualShock 4 is already really great. But they say they want stronger battery life for the DualSense rechargeable battery, and to lessen the weight of the controller as much as possible as new features were added. That's interesting. That's actually really cool. Moving forward, for the buttons, you'll notice there is no longer a share button as we had with the DualShock 4. Don't worry, it's not going away. In fact, we built it upon the success of our industry-first share button to bring you a new create button feature. Okay, with create, we're once again pioneering new ways for players to create epic gameplay content to share with the world, or just to enjoy for themselves. We'll have more details on this feature as we get closer to launch. Obviously, since though that's a button on the controller, that's tied to the main console itself. DualSense also adds a built-in microphone. Okay, wow, that's awesome. That's why there's a mute button on it then. See this right here? So I'm guessing there's no ports on it at all, unless it's on, well, except for the charging port. I think that's a microphone instead, and maybe this is a microphone. I think that's a speaker though. Okay, whatever. But I think this may actually be the main PlayStation button, like right here. And we're gonna comment all about the design right now. But I think this may be the PlayStation button right here on the controller that's actually etched into it. And then I think the bottom button could be a mute button for the microphone on the main controller. Regardless, it's awesome that it actually is a built-in controller. That's sick. Okay, let's move back to the actual article. They say, okay. Dual microphone array. DualSense also adds a built-in microphone array, which will enable players to easily chat with friends without a headset. So awesome. Ideal for jumping into a quick conversation, but of course, if you are planning to chat for a longer period, it's good to have the headset ready or handy. Okay. Now, before we get into it, I want to jump into what I was originally thinking, okay? So I even told you guys at first that I felt the controller was kind of redesigned right here. That's pretty easy to see. Instead of like being pushed outwards like it is here, that kind of like curved a little bit more inwards. I'm guessing that's a new kind of design thing to make it feel better in your hand, and maybe just to make the components fit a little bit better. This way that they didn't necessarily have to make it thicker. And again, like I said, so they basically took this. So this is the share button. This is the options button that's remaining. And this is the share button right here. They took this share button and they made it the create button. So it's essentially the same thing, different name, a few more features added in. This is staying. Again, form factor has been slightly curved inward. And the other thing I want to comment about is that if you take a look at it like from this angle, I don't know. I guess it looks a little thick from this angle. But from this, I don't know. I'm looking at the controller. Could just be the image, and could be because it's white too. It doesn't look too much thinner at all. It looks either the same or a little bit thicker than the current PlayStation controller. Not even that that's a bad thing or that it has to be a bad thing, but I don't know. That's how it looks. They're saying it's thinner and it's getting lighter, so whether that's true, we'll have to wait and see. Also, I think that's a USB-C port. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's not a micro USB port. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a USB cable or USB-C cable, which I will show you right now. Yeah, 100%. So for those of you guys who don't know, maybe an iPad Pro, or if you have a MacBook Pro or something like that, a newer version of it, there's this USB port that looks like this. This is USB Type-C, and that's what it looks like. It's going to be charging this controller very clearly. And that may not only allow for faster charging and stuff like that, but it may also allow for us to easily connect headsets and stuff like that to the controller, and even connect in different ways. Like, for example, maybe connecting it alongside your computer. But yeah, I won't get too far into that. At the very base, though, that's definitely a USB-C port, unless I'm going insane. But that's a USB Type-C port. Okay, and then these all stay the same. I'm pretty sure they're keeping the layout pretty much exactly the same there. So okay, so we have a little bit more left. They say, now, let's talk about the colors. Okay, good. Traditionally, our base controllers have a single color. As you can see, we went with a different direction this time around and decided on a two-tone design. Additionally, we changed the position of the light bar that will give it an extra... Oh, I didn't even notice that. That will give it an extra pop. On DualShock 4, it sat on the top of the controller. Now it sits at each side of the touchpad. Okay, so for those of you guys who don't know, I'll just touch on this quick. For those of you guys who don't know, that there's this thing right here. I'm sure everyone who has a PlayStation obviously knows, but there's a light right here, and you can sometimes see it through the corners. I don't know if that's really intended, but now on this brand new DualSense controller, that's how it's meant to be. There's nothing up here anymore. It's just one port. That could also be how they slimmed it down a little bit too. That's actually cool. But yeah, they moved the port up, and there's no light. It's just on the controller itself, which I honestly like a little bit better, because you're never why can't I speak? You're never able to see the light on this controller when you're playing by yourself. It's like only your friends seeing the light, and what the fuck's the point of that? Okay. So two-tone design, DualShock 4, okay, now it sits, okay. In all, we went through several concepts and hundreds of mock-ups over the last few years before we settled on this final design. DualSense has been tested by a wide range of gamers with a variety of hand sizes in order for us to achieve the comfort level we wanted with great ergonomics, okay? So that's just basically saying they've gone through a ton of different design changes, and they wanted to make sure with tons of different hand sizes and thicknesses, meaty hands and stuff like that, they just wanted to get the controller that's the most universal and most comfortable for everybody without compromises for a certain group of people. Like, for example, people with bigger hands, and that's the argument you hear a lot for the PlayStation. People with bigger hands can't use it because the controller's small. Whatever. Whether or not that's true or bullshit, I really don't care. Hopefully, this controller should put that argument to bed. Moving forward, they say, our goal with DualSense is to give gamers the feeling of being transported into the game world as soon as they open the box. We want, by the way, quick reminder, make sure you're subscribed if you enjoy Call of Duty or any new console news. Moving on. Our goal is with DualSense to give gamers the feeling of being transported into the game world as soon as they open the box. Just read that. We want gamers to feel the controller is an extension of themselves when they're playing. So much so that they forget that it's even in their hands. So honestly, what I'm seeing they're kind of going for here, obviously they have the kind of haptic feedback. I don't know if the heart rate thing is going to be something, But if it is, that'll just play into this, and I kind of think of it as a Wii controller, right? It's not going to act as a Wii controller, but think about a Wii controller, how much you had to really use it, or honestly how little you had to use it. It was kind of just part of you. Like, for example, if you were playing a baseball game, you'd swing the Wii controller and it would feel like it's a part of you. You're not really so much just using a controller sitting there very stationary. Although it doesn't seem like they're going to, again, encapsulate that Wii controller kind of thing, that Wii controller kind of vibe. It seems that that's the kind of thing they're going for. So whether or not that works out, we'll see. We are thrilled about sharing the final look of the DualSense controller with our fans, and we can't wait for everyone to get their hands on it. I'd like to close with a message from SIE President and CEO Jim Ryan to the community. DualSense marks a radical departure from our previous controller offerings and captures just how strongly we feel about making a generational leap with PS5. The new controller, along with many innovative features in PS5, will be transformative for games, continuing our mission at PlayStation to push the boundaries of play now and in the future. To the PlayStation community, I truly want to thank you for sharing this exciting journey with us as we head toward PS5's launch in holiday 2020. We look forward to sharing more information about PS5, including the console design, in the coming months. Okay, that's Jim Ryan, President and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment. DualSense is a registered trademark or a trademark of Sony Interactive Entertainment, Inc., period. Okay, that's going to be it, guys. Make sure if you did enjoy the video, we had some juicy information about the brand new DualSense controller for PlayStation 5. I'm very excited. Most likely, don't know yet, still have some stuff to look at. Most likely, I'm going to be going with a PlayStation 5, but I don't know yet. That's definitely not set in stone at all. That's just because I have a PlayStation 4. I love the PlayStation 4, but I've gone from the Xbox 360 to the PS4, so I will have no issue if I feel need be going from the PS4 to the Xbox Series X. It's a little bit more complicated this time around because of games and backwards compatibility and stuff like that. So we'll see. But most likely I'm going with the PlayStation 5, and this is cool. I'm definitely excited to see that they didn't keep the controller exactly the same, DualShock 2.0. They redesigned the controller while keeping it extremely familiar and adding some new stuff to it. That's awesome. Again, if you did enjoy the video, make sure you do drop a thumbs up on... Yes, that you do... I haven't made a YouTube video in forever like this. Drop a like on the video. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel for more informational videos like this, whether it's on PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X or pretty much anything kind of like Call of Duty related, especially on the zombie side because I'm a Call of Duty Zombies channel. But with that being said, I will talk to you guys in the next video. Have an awesome day. Bada bing, bada boom.